is Alaska. Situated far above the Arctic Circle, this frozen, barren wasteland is almost untouched by the hand of civilization. Caribou roam the tundra, struggling to eke out an existence in a land that rarely sees the sun. The few people that endeavor to exist in such harsh conditions band together to form the family unit. As northern lights dance over...
Throw away everything you thought you knew about the last frontier. Right now, you're considering or already planning a move to Alaska. We know how intimidating that can be. So we've created this DVD to help answer questions and to give you an idea of what it's like to live, work, and raise a family in South Central Alaska. Prepare to fall in love with the unique beauty that is South Central Alaska. Alaska is the largest state in the Union. But do you know just how large? By U.S. standards, it's enormous, accounting for 20% of the U.S. area. With more than 6,000 miles, Alaska has more coastline than the entire continental United States. From sea level to the highest peak in North America, Alaska has it all. More than half of all Alaskans live in the South Central region, and most of those live in Anchorage, its largest city. Be prepared to let go of some of your preconceptions about the last frontier. Alaska contains thriving 21st century communities filled with all the conveniences of a contemporary city. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey as we take you on a personal guided tour of South Central Alaska, where the last frontier beckons just outside your front door.
Hello and welcome to South Central Alaska. If you're looking to move to Alaska, South Central's where you want to be. I'm Michelle Delaney, your host and tour guide for this program. South Central Alaska covers an area about the size of the state of Minnesota and combines picturesque landscape, abundant wildlife, and all the conveniences of a modern city into a quality of life that is second to none.
There you go, man.
Thank you very much. This program has been designed to show you an idea of what it's like to live, work, and play in South Central Alaska. Nestled between Cook Inlet and the Chugach Mountains, you'll find Anchorage, home to about half the state's 600,000 plus population. Anchorage is a modern metropolitan city with a booming business district, an active arts community, and a thriving international airport. Don't be surprised if you see an occasional moose wandering around through town. It's all a part of the Alaskan experience. So come along as we take the next few minutes to discover why I call South Central Alaska home and why you should too. Here is where it all begins, the Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport, where flights from around the world arrive daily, carrying cargo, family, and friends. Anchorage is the economic hub for the state and is currently experiencing unbelievable economic growth. Take a look for yourself.
The economy of South Central Alaska has enjoyed nearly 20 years of continuous economic growth, thanks primarily to four major sectors that drive our local economy: oil and gas, military, transportation, and tourism. Oil is the main driver of the economy, and Anchorage is the business center of the industry. Many workers on the North Slope oil fields call South Central their home. Tourism in South Central is booming as more Americans look for exotic domestic locations. Alaska is far from having roads to nowhere. South Central's roads have been designated a National Forest Scenic Byway, containing views that will remain with you forever. Anchorage is known as the air crossroads of the world and is only 9 hours by air to 95% of the industrialized world. Anchorage's proximity to Europe, Asia, and North America makes Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport the #1 busiest cargo airport based on tonnage in the United States and #3 in the world. The Alaska Railroad is also a major transporter, handling both freight and passengers on some of the most scenic tracks in America. Designated a trade-free zone, over 90% of consumer goods arrive via the Port of Anchorage, which is ice-free year-round. South Central Alaska is positioned with a strong economy, an international attitude, and a solid infrastructure that will accommodate economic growth for the next 30 years.
I just love an exotic dessert after a good meal. Alaskans from across the state come to South Central for its fine dining and entertainment venues. And believe me, they're not disappointed. Bon appetit!
When it comes to dining in Anchorage, you won't be disappointed by a lack of choices. Anchorage's international connections influence the unique styles and flavors of the local dining scene. Choose between elegant, themed, or down-to-earth restaurants serving food from all parts of the world. Some boast 10,000 bottle wine cellars and brew pubs offering award-winning beers and great food at affordable prices. In Alaska, fresh fish is the name of the game and is produced from some of the cleanest, most pristine waters in the world. When it comes to live performances, the Alaska Performing Arts Center has hosted numerous Broadway hits and our own Anchorage Opera, Symphony, and Concert Association. A thriving local arts and music scene contributes to a robust and diverse selection of performing arts. Alaskans love the outdoors and have made sure their largest city doesn't crowd out the natural splendor that surrounds it. Trail systems wind through South Central, allowing for rugged nature walks with local wildlife even within city limits. Anglers pull in trophy salmon at Ship Creek in the very shadow of the modern city skyline. Anchorage alone has 162 parks encompassing over 14,000 acres. Off-leash dog parks, skating rinks, wildlife viewing platforms, and boardwalks, and the Eagle River Nature Center are popular destinations. When it comes to sports, South Central does it up right. The Sullivan Arena is home to the 2006 Kelly Cup champion Alaska Aces and the UAA Seawolves hockey teams. Every year, Anchorage hosts the nationally televised event, the Great Alaska Shootout, an immensely popular tournament that welcomes top NCAA college basketball teams from across the country. The Boys of Summer include the Anchorage Bucks and Glacier Pilots baseball teams, who enjoy dedicated fan bases all summer long. Frequent annual events give Alaskans more to look forward to throughout the year, including the world-famous Iditarod Trail Sled Dog Race. In the summertime, virtually every weekend offers a myriad of fishing derbies, music festivals, running marathons, and local community fairs. As you can see, South Central's climate is far from the cold, dark tundra that some people envision. Though days do get short in December and January, no days are completely without sunshine. The winter climate is tempered by a warm Japanese ocean current, with temperatures that tend to be milder than other northern cities like Minneapolis or Winnipeg. And oh, those Alaska summers. With 18 or more hours of daylight and temperatures in the comfortable 70s, South Central summers are a near-perfect playground for the outdoor enthusiasts. The midnight sun provides enough light for late-night golf tournaments and 24-hour fishing marathons. It's easy to understand why people from all over the world make Alaska their home.
Welcome to the center of Alaska's college community. South Central campuses are some of the most beautiful in the country, offering classes that meet the demands of today's job force. The variety of classes offered are as diverse as the students who attend. Educate yourself by watching this next segment.
Boundless educational opportunities are close at hand in South Central Alaska, starting with the Anchorage School District that leads the nation in median number of school years completed. The accredited University of Alaska Anchorage, or UAA, offers degree programs in 134 areas of study. It is complemented by the Alaska Pacific University, or APU, whose distinctive educational philosophy offers a hands-on, experiential approach. Other private institutions specialize in technological and vocational education, keeping South Central's workforce on the cutting edge. Alaska looks to South Central to provide state-of-the-art health care. Providence Alaska Medical Center is the state's largest private employer. Its ever-expanding facility has over 600 physicians on staff and the most advanced medical equipment and treatment systems in Alaska. The Alaska Regional Hospital, the federally funded Alaska Native Medical Center, Elmendorf Air Force Base, and other facilities ensure healthy competition and freedom of choice for all Alaskans.
U.S. military and civilian aviation played vital roles in shaping Alaska's early history. Planes such as these were used to deliver mail, supplies, and passengers all across Alaska. Over the years, the U.S. military's presence has dramatically increased due to our strategic geographic location. So buckle up and prepare to watch the arrival of our next segment.
The purchase of what is now Alaska from Russia in 1867 for about 2 cents an acre has proved to be one of the best bargains our country has ever made. In 1915, a tent city sprung up on the banks of Ship Creek to begin construction of the Alaska Railroad, and the U.S. Post Office formalized the name Anchorage. The U.S. military began construction of airfields and bases well before the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. The Japanese occupied 2 of the Aleutian Islands in 1942, which further spurred military spending, including the construction of the Alaska Highway connecting Alaska to the lower 48. Eventually, Elmendorf Air Force Base and the Army's Fort Richardson were established just outside of Anchorage. Along with the Air National Guard, the armed forces contribute to a very strong military presence in South Central. Defense spending during the 1950s drove Anchorage's population up from 3,000 to over 47,000, and President Eisenhower made Alaska the 49th state on January 3, 1959. On Good Friday, 1964, the largest earthquake ever recorded on the North American continent was centered just 80 miles from Anchorage, resulting in hundreds of millions of dollars of damage and changes to the landscape that are still visible today. 4 years later, the largest oil field in North America was discovered on Alaska's North Slope, and the construction of the Trans-Alaska Pipeline boosted the local economy for the next decade. Oil revenue began to flow into the state's treasury, and over $1 billion of capital projects took place during the 1980s. So much money was coming in that a savings account was opened in the form of the Alaska Permanent Fund, which has paid an annual dividend to every qualified Alaskan since 1982. For over 18 years, Anchorage has experienced economic growth with little sign of slowing down. With the potential construction of a gas pipeline to the lower 48 states and our strategic military location providing top cover for North America, a strong, vibrant, and opportunistic future lies ahead for Alaska's largest city.
Hello! You caught me taking my girls for a walk. Why don't you join us? Contrary to popular belief, South Central residents do not live in igloos. We have a great mix of neighborhoods full of character and beauty. From rustic log cabins to modern 5-star energy-rated homes, you're sure to find one you'll love, just not an igloo.
It's hard to find a home in South Central that isn't built to take advantage of one of Alaska's most prized assets, the views. From million-dollar-plus homes on Anchorage's hillside and ocean bluffs to the most affordable starter homes and condos, most are designed to bring those famous landscapes right into your living room. Somebody once said that rush hour in Anchorage is from 7:55 to 8 a.m. Although it houses nearly half of all Alaskans, Anchorage is a relatively small place in terms of area. You can drive from one end to the other in less than 30 minutes. Commuters who prefer the wider spaces of the Mat-Su Valley can still make it to Anchorage in less than an hour. The South Central housing market is one of the most affordable on the West Coast. Among 180 cities nationwide, Anchorage is ranked 32nd for most affordable housing. Alaskans have an affinity for homes that reflect the natural beauty of the state. Rustic log exteriors often shelter state-of-the-art modern living spaces. Lakefront footage is especially popular since Alaskans are 16 times more likely than the national average to own a plane. People relocate to Alaska from all over the country and the world and bring their tastes in housing with them. South Central developers have learned to offer a wide variety of housing styles to reflect the diversity of its people. With everything from oceanfront lots to high mountain retreats, the search for your new home is sure to result in what we like to call the Alaska Dream.
So there you have it. Now you know why South Central Alaska is one of the most beautiful places in the world to live, work, and raise a family. We hope this relocation DVD has helped to dispel some of the myths about living in the last frontier. We live in a gorgeous state, and I hope to see you here soon.
You might be coming to Alaska with a plan to stay maybe a year or two just to get the experience. Tell that to friends you'll be making in South Central, and you're likely to get a knowing smile and a nod. Many of us came here with just such a plan. But that was before we had the experience of living in such a remarkable place, where some of nature's most spectacular scenery and luxuries of the modern age go hand in hand. So come to Alaska. Join us in celebrating the beauty of the last frontier. But you may want to leave your long-term plans a little flexible. Once you experience what life is like in the 49th state, there's a good chance you may never want to leave.
Welcome. I'm Mark Begich, Mayor of Anchorage, Alaska, here in South Central Alaska. You know, there's a lot of myths about our great state. People think it's cold and dark and we all live in igloos. But the fact is, it's a beautiful area in South Central. We have incredible recreational opportunities from hunting and fishing and backpacking, incredible sights. Here in Anchorage alone is a unique city. 95 different languages spoken in our community. Incredible growth, 18 years of consecutive economic growth. Very diverse educational system, and also recreational opportunities that you can never believe. But when you look around, it's a place where you can go king salmon fishing in the downtown Anchorage, walk a few blocks away, enjoy a Broadway play, then go to a 5-star restaurant. And then if you want, maybe the next day, go to see a glacier. I hope you'll see what others have seen, that Alaska is a great place to raise a family, work, and live, and it's a great opportunity for you to experience. I'd invite you to experience Alaska, experience South Central, an opportunity you won't believe.